Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Shoe Crazy Wine Presents. We got a special show today. I'm Gwen Hurt, founder of Shoe Crazy Wine.
I'm Brittany Hurt, Baby Shoe Crazy Wine.
I'm Teresina St. Clair, also known as the Tipsy Sommelier.
And we've got some special guests today, and we're doing what we always do at the end of the month. If there's a special group or heritage that we want to salute and say hey and learn a little bit about. So it is National Asian American Pacific Islander American Heritage Month. That's a lot, but I got it.
That's a lot.
Yes,
Got
but I
it.
got it. And we are so excited today. We have it was a long title. So we have some special guests who we're going to talk to a little bit about what they do, about what's going on right now in the Asian American community, and we're going to show some some fun facts as well about Asian Americans' contribution to the U.S. And there's some great contributions. I think some are going to surprise you. So our producer did his research.
What?
He did.
That's
Hey,
Steven.
Steven.
I gotta say, Steven always does his job. Yeah, he does it right. He does it
So
right.
I am going to say we have a bounty of food.
Yes.
So to celebrate Asian culture, we have an Americanized version of Asian food. So it is.
I wish we had flown.
And I say that because
Oh,
I lived in
nice.
Asia and it tastes a little bit differently.
It's so different.
It's a little bit fresher there.
When you're in the mother country, it's
Yeah,
so different.
it's so different.
It's so
But
different.
this is a bounty. Thank you, Teresina and Franklin, for providing
Yes,
this.
our
It's
pleasure.
just wonderful. So she's going to tell us what we're
gosh.
eating, but we're also going to pair a Spanish rosé, and you may be seeing this on shelves somewhere too. So we're going to pair that, and then we're also going to pair it with the goat, and that is
Yes.
the sparkling peach mango, greatest of all times. It's our bestseller, and our second bestseller is Sweet Bella, and we're going to pair it with Sweet Bella, and we might even have a little room for some Syrah. And because Miss Benita is not with us today, we got some whiskey.
Missing you, Auntie.
We got
Yes,
some whiskey.
missing you.
We got
You're missing this.
whiskey
You're
right.
not missing
Okay.
this, but you're going to miss this.
You're gonna miss
You
this
gonna
one.
miss this.
This is a cherry wood
I'm gonna
smoked
enjoy it
whiskey
for you.
by Whiskey Right. This is a black distiller in
So
Waynesville,
excited.
Virginia.
Yes.
So it's two gentlemen, two men that decided to leave their current careers and become distillers, and they're in Waynesboro, Virginia. And we are excited to taste a little of their whiskey
Yes.
today.
And the little cardinal on the
I
bottom,
know, look at that.
that is.
Why is that?
Yes.
That's the bird of Virginia, right?
Yeah.
That's state
Yeah.
bird.
It's funny. I kind of feel like the one you just said that they decided to leave like their other careers. It's like that's how it usually happens when you start your own business. It's just like I don't want to work
Yeah,
Right.
for
exactly.
anybody
Right.
else.
It's like, I don't want to do this
I don't want to do
anymore.
this anymore, and I just want to do something for myself. It's
Yeah.
like it's so funny how it's literally it's the same story for all of us.
Yeah.
That's literally how it
That's
goes.
how it goes. It's true. It's a little warmer here. I feel like I'm in the
It's a
tropics
little
of
toasty.
Asia right now. I feel like I'm in Hong Kong
I
in
should
the
have worn
summer.
a mile in my
The
hair.
air conditioner is not exactly doing what it's supposed to right now.
But
So what we'd like to do, we'd like to welcome all of our guests. So we've got Huy Trinh, who is a counselor. He is of Vietnamese descent.
That's correct.
Yes, and I guess what? Little known fact, no.
Oh, Lord.
so wait, Mom, you been there too?
Been
Benita,
there
are
too.
you watching?
I watched Benita, been there too. What? I had her name pronounced right early. Watami?
Got to me.
Got to me.
Got to me.
Sharma is our IT specialist from India. So we're going to learn a little bit about Vietnamese culture, Indian culture, and everything in between. So welcome our special guest. And so I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Huy.
And
I'm
we'll start pairing everything now.
born actually here in the States. So born in the crazy state of Florida.
Oh, my
Wow,
God.
you're Floridian?
I am a native Floridian.
We love Florida.
Yeah.
Much love.
No,
Much
Much
love.
love to Florida.
To the Sunshine
To
State.
the Sunshine
You know,
State,
you know,
yes.
much love. I'm the oldest of three kids.
Okay, I think I'm gonna start with this. Go ahead.
Oldest of three kids, born and raised by two parents who immigrated from the country of Vietnam after the
Oh, Vietnam. Why did you correct me? I said Taiwan. I said Vietnam. Oh, all right, I'm sorry, Vietnam. I'm like your mama. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I'll just hit it.
Wait, did she just forget that fast? She
I
said
am a
it.
great speaker. Oh, God. I'm getting speaker.
Yeah, pass it down.
All right, so we're gonna.
Oh my goodness, Lord, love
Oh
you.
God! over.
I can't, I'm allergic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Can't do the shrimp.
yeah, we can't do this shrimp. We got some
But I
pot
can
stickers.
do those,
Did you-
pot stickers.
That's it.
Okay. Mine is stuck together. Take one of mine, please.
Okay.
Right.
We're gonna pass
Thank
this
you.
down. All right. See, I don't know why I thought that, you came here as a young man, but your parents immigrated.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Born in America.
Yeah, so
I'm Asian American.
what part of Florida?
Boca Raton.
Boca Raton.
Oh, really?
Okay, Boca's very nice, Boca Raton.
I'm from Boca Raton.
Okay, okay, so now we're listening.
So if
We're
you don't
listening.
mind me asking,
Go ahead.
what, for your parents, why Florida?
Florida. I believe it was for work. You know, my
Yeah.
father worked at IBM for the longest time. The International Business Machine.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my God, when they used to say, when you cut me, I bleed blue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how far back we go down
Oh
here.
my
Those
God.
are my parents.
That's what they used to
Oh,
say.
okay, yep.
If you cut me, I bleed blue.
All right.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, okay, well, look at that, we're practically.
There it is, there it is,
So,
there it is.
Okay, you came from IBM.
came from
All right.
IBM and then came to Texas.
Mhm.
I believe I was around 9 years old.
Mhm.
Went to Austin,
Oh,
Texas.
Also very nice.
And my father was still part of IBM, and it's funny that you brought up the story of just pursuing entrepreneurship, because
Mhm.
eventually he got to a point where he had a great career.
Yeah.
You know, I want to say 25 years at IBM.
Wow.
But, you know, right after 50, he's like, you know what? It was time for a change.
Yeah.
Went into real estate.
Oh,
and,
Okay.
was successful
wow, very nice.
Wow,
In
I
Texas?
love
in
it.
Texas.
In Texas.
I
All
love
right.
it.
I love
it,
that.
I love it,
The
I love it, I love it.
entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely.
Like it. I
You
need
get
to
a lot of houses
Yeah, I
Texas
need a little
for a good
solution.
deal, right?
I gotta do
Yes.
my
You used to.
situation.
You used to, I know about Austin now.
I don't know. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
about now,
Right, not this year.
Yeah, 96.
Maybe last year.
Not 96.
So how did you get to Virginia?
I know.
The
That's
great
the question.
state of Virginia.
Right,
Well, I completed my
what made
education.
you mosey this way?
I completed my education in mental health counseling. So
Oh, okay.
I am master's educated, and I was, I got someone reached out from my cohort who
Mhm.
graduated a year prior,
Mhm.
and like, you're graduating right in August, and I think around the time you reached out it was June. So I was,
Okay.
yeah, 2 months out, and I was like, planning anything? I was like, no. I was like, well, I started this great company in Virginia, National Counseling Group.
Okay.
I can hook you up with an interview. I was like, yeah,
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take it. So did my phone interview. Did 2-3 interviews consecutively, and it took about a week, and I got an offer. And at that time, I was renting. I was single. Didn't have any kids, no pets. I was like, I'm in the greatest. I'm in the greatest.
no way.
Great position.
I was in
I was
the
like,
great-
you're in the perfect position for that.
I was in
Yeah.
the greatest position. I was like, you know what? Yeah, and I've been living in Texas by then for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you know what? Time for a change.
Yeah.
Here I've been since November 2012.
Wow. You like it?
I do actually.
That's
I love
good.
it. I love it.
I've been here.
Well, and this is National Mental Health Month too, I believe.
I believe so.
And
Is it
yeah.
really?
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
is.
So we've got a double. Yeah, very nice. We didn't plan it that way, but it happened.
It did happen that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
absolutely.
is mental health month.
Hey, Donald from North Carolina.
Hi, Donald.
See.
Hi, hi,
Hi, Donald.
If people should start chiming in, the ones that aren't at the beach, I hate them all. You know, it's
Yeah, we're not
Memorial
expect. I mean, it's like it is. It's Memorial Day weekend, but happy Memorial Day to everyone.
Edwin with the complex
A
questions.
three-part
What do
question.
they people think
And
first
what
thing?
it is.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. And
Why do we always have to read a dissertation with you?
I know. Hey, come on.
Where's your favorite Asia Pacific Island country you have visited? What was your favorite local dish? And what country you recommend everyone who listens should visit?
That's
And
correct.
who's that for?
The question's for everybody.
Yeah,
Who's
who's
that
that
for?
for?
Is that for everybody?
The question is for everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-huh. So I'm
Well,
gonna,
who's been to Asia here? The two at the end of this table. Edwin.
okay, we're gonna pass on that three-part question right now, because we already talked about all the countries that we love. I was in Vietnam at one of the beach resorts. We took a ferry from Ho Chi Minh City to one of the I think it's one of the more popular beaches. When we went, it was off season, so we had the entire resort. It was like 6 girls, and for 2 days it was just us and the staff, and it was fabulous. And then of course everybody started.
Oh,
piling
I guess my favorite would be when Mom took me to Macau
Oh yeah. Oh.
for my 19th birthday.
Mm.
Okay, so we took the fast ferry,
Ferry over.
and literally it raises and it slices the water.
what?
And you get there, so it's on an island, so you get there in like more than like less than half the time.
Oh,
So we got there in like, what was it, Mom? Like,
That was a short amount of
it
time.
was like 30, it was like
We might have
30
been
minutes.
drunk, so I don't know.
I don't know, it might have been, it might have been.
Y'all might have been on that
We might have been
ferry for 3 hours.
It might have been. But the greatest part was is that we went to Morton's Steakhouse when we got there for my birthday. And
Y'all went all the way up there
Yes,
on the morning.
and the chef was American, and he was just like, oh my God.
Well, the thing was is that the manager also was Indian American,
Yes.
and the language is what's the language here? Come on, help me, Chinese.
Hindi?
Well,
In Macau, it's Portuguese and
Oh,
Chinese kind of
Chinese.
broken dialect, yeah.
There's so many dialects.
And so when
of it,
they
yeah.
heard us, they were like, "Oh my God, I hear some Americans."
Yeah.
And so I came over, Brittany's birthday, and boy, did they show her the best
What?
birthday party ever
At Morton's Steakhouse.
Oh my
They
God.
pumped everything.
These people were staring at us like, so this is what's happening right now.
Now,
These
what
two
you
ladies sitting at the
They
table.
just walked in and he moved us to one of the better tables and whatever you want, and they sat and talked with us. He said they had been there for almost a year.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to speak with the locals, right? Because they didn't understand the language or anything. And so I said to Brittany, dang girl.
We should come back together.
Okay, well, it was kind of like out of the blue. Because
Yeah.
I was just like, well, let's go to Macau because Macau is actually, it's a small island that's almost similar to like a mini Las Vegas.
It is
Oh,
Vegas.
So they had
Vegas
Indian
of China.
brand, they had the
So everything
sands,
goes.
everything.
MGM.
So we were like we were gonna go gamble because Mom likes
It
to
is Vegas.
Mom likes to get a gamble on y'all.
I do,
Just I'm
but
just gonna let
let's
everybody
just-
know.
let's just
She
say-
likes to slot.
I gamble up to a point.
She
and
likes her
I
slots.
win, and then I lose it all back and I'm
Yeah.
sad and I go
Yeah.
home.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is what happened.
I gamble,
So-
I win, I
So
suck.
I won like $2,000.
Yeah.
No.
And she was just like,
Wow.
and so then Mom was just like,
No.
well, let's just bet it all.
No.
We went home broke. We went home broke, Teresina. We went home broke.
You know what my justification is? Well, we didn't have it when we came here.
Oh my God.
I won $2,000. We went home broke.
We did go home. But that said, we digress. We digress. I don't know how we got into gambling, but yes, so.
We went home broke.
Yeah, we did. And we did. We ended up with the best time in Macau.
It was fun.
Oh,
It was
that's
very-
good.
it was a
man.
lot
So,
of
but
fun.
we were on Texas, weren't we? When we
Yeah.
Somehow to burn it out.
Wait, we were trying to answer Edwin's question in
Yeah.
like a
simple.
simple
Answer.
version, but.
Anybody else want to chime into
diverted.
Edwin's question? You
I
know,
don't
we're
know.
getting-
I can't speak to it.
He asked
Yeah. I would
another
love to say
question.
I can,
No, it was,
but
you
I
know,
can't.
what country would you recommend, Asian country would you recommend that anybody that's listening?
Well, Edwin, we all know that you love Singapore, so that would be yours.
Singapore would be his, yeah. Singapore was
Yeah.
beautiful too.
I think
Singapore
it's a
is
hard
beautiful.
question
It's
because like
expensive as hell.
because Asia is like so
It
diverse,
is
you know,
very
it's
diverse.
not like like if you go to Vietnam, it's completely different culture. If you
Mhm.
go to India, if you go to Thailand, so and each country, has its own unique
It does.
culture, heritage, food. The food is so different, like Vietnamese food from Indian food or
Yeah,
from
very
Thai food,
different.
right? So I think it's a tough question, but I guess you'll have to just sort of research and see what you like. Are you more into like food, spices, culture? Are you more Are you more into like beaches, like Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Bali,
Right,
right?
Bali,
Thailand,
Bali,
right?
Bali.
Beautiful.
Right. You want
I ate
like,
crickets in Thailand.
I will
Right.
say,
Right.
having lived in quite a few countries and worked in quite a few countries there,
Which one?
I will say that just under 2 years that I spent in India,
Mhm.
it took me a while to adjust to the culture.
Right.
It did, and I had some interesting things that happened. But what I learned there is that once you become their friends, your family,
Yeah.
and your family forever. And I still have, 2 of my people that work for me are
Her ride or dies.
Yeah, my ride or dies.
Mhm.
But it was interesting because I couldn't get a lot of interaction at the factory with my team until I put on a sari and a bindi. And
Oh.
once I did that, it showed respect for the culture. And then it was so different. It was, we were cranking out and, you know, in Hong Kong, they're like, what's going on in India? I said, we got it moving now, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it showed her, and I didn't ask anybody to help me figure out how to wrap the sari. I'm telling you, I had about 100 pins to hold it in, but it was up. And then the ladies took me into the ladies' room to see if I had a little petticoat, and I had a little petticoat under it.
Wow,
So I
that's
did my homework.
awesome.
So that's, to your point,
Mhm.
different cultures, understand where you're going,
Right.
you know, and show respect for the culture that you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
But what did you say? It took you only 1 week and she was able to actually wrap her own.
Yeah, it took me a
That's
week, but I was,
amazing.
Oh, I would love
it
to wear
was
that.
hours in
Those
the
are
room.
beautiful.
I was,
It's
you know,
still
that's the whole
tough for
self.
me. I
It's
still,
she looked gorgeous.
Mhm.
She looked
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You could not tell that it had so many pins. It was pinned up pretty good. though.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
really
And she did it by
interesting.
herself.
I did it by myself,
She
and
did
they
it by
kept
herself.
saying, "Who helped?" And I said, "Nobody.
Nobody.
I did it by myself."
And she
That's
sent me a
She
amazing.
said she
photo.
watched YouTube videos.
Right.
Maybe I'll ask you for help next week.
I know what I'm doing now. Yes.
Yeah, because it's interesting that I'm Indian, like, you know,
Yeah.
sari is not a thing that I wore growing
Yeah,
up, right? I
right.
wore normal clothes, like
Right.
jeans, skirts,
Yeah.
dresses, and then, like, I started my adult life here, so, you know, like, never had to wear a sari unless there was an Indian function or
Oh,
wedding, right?
wow.
So, always, I can do the basics, but, like, somebody to tighten it up,
Yeah.
and, you know, like, oh, can you, like, help me?
Yes.
So that's really
Yes.
amazing. You
Was
can
that
do it.
impressive? Thank
Yeah,
you.
very impressive.
Thank you.
Very
That's
See,
impressive.
like, and so when I saw the photo when she sent it to me, because she was there and I was here in the States in the US, and I was just like, Mom, I was like, well, who did that for you? She was like, I did it myself.
I tell you, it was
I was like, I did it myself. I
all
was
day
just
and
like,
night.
well, look at you, ma'am.
I did it.
You
and
did a good job.
they have more pictures of me up in the factory there. They were
Are you
like, they
serious?
shut down production when I came in. It was unbelievable.
Terracina, can I ask
You
you?
have a
And then
question.
Yes.
What can I ask you? What is this?
Oh, that's a, okay, it's a poke
Poke bowl.
salad.
Poke
It's
salad.
It's a poke
Pokey.
bowl, but I don't
Poke
know. I think
salad.
it's got chicken. I think
Okay.
it's got.
Poke.
yes, poke.
Poke.
Thank
See
you.
that we have somebody to help us here. We're not doing
Thank
like
you.
that.
Yeah.
Mom, I really,
Yeah.
I think you dropped your fork.
I did. I think I dropped my fork.
You have a couple of questions.
We got a couple of questions.
So
Oh,
mine.
yes.
Okay, so here's a little
Oh,
piece.
hey,
Yeah,
Naomi.
We're gonna just pass some of this
Yeah.
fabulous food out, and then we're gonna have some. I'm gonna try this with sweet Bella.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try it with Bella.
I agree.
Can I try your food?
I'll get some.
Yes.
Poke. You said poke?
You vaccinated, right?
Poke. I'm gonna
Okay.
some the poke.
There we go.
Wait, Mom, you want to share my fork? Are you
No.
vaccinated?
I'm
We're
I'm
vaccinated.
gonna get some noodles. I put my fork in the noodles. I
Go.
before I used it, so it's not.
That's what Franklin always says. Every time someone's in the room,
So-
he calls this COVID.
I know.
We have a
COVID.
question from
Yeah.
Kenton Ainsworth.
Yeah,
Kenton English, okay.
Yes.
Is there a better support for Asian Americans in Texas versus Virginia?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a very good question. Honestly, growing up in Texas, I was very aware that I was in the minority. You know, I went to a predominantly Caucasian schools,
School, right.
like elementary, middle, high school,
Mhm.
lived in predominantly Caucasian neighborhoods. So it was very clear, but to me, I guess I didn't, at that time when I was younger, I always considered, if there were any sort of bigotry, I always thought it was like it had to be over to be
Oh,
bigoted.
right.
You know? So I guess I didn't really pay attention to
The
or
subtleties.
the
Yeah.
subtleties. So
Mhm.
like I couldn't say, you know, like perhaps if I go back now, you know, I'm much older now, like I'm sure I can recognize it for what it is. So, but I can't say for sure.
But let me, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Pre-COVID, and we're talking Virginia here. And I, you know, everybody's been reading the news lately about, you know, the attacks on
Pass me the Bella.
people of the Asian communities.
Bella.
But pre-COVID, I don't think it was as prevalent as it is now. At least you didn't hear it on the news. You didn't hear Asian Americans speaking out saying you need to stop. So what's your guys' thought on that?
You know, I think it's about time. I think culturally, Asian Americans tend to keep our head down, move
Yeah.
forward, you know, and don't cause trouble, work hard.
We're
You know,
right.
I guess those who speak up the most, you know, kind of gain that trouble. It's kind of like that mentality. If you're making noise, all that, any trouble that comes your way, kind of deserve.
You
And
deserve, yeah.
so it's a very,
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Was that,
thing.
that's old
That's
school.
not cool.
That's
it's a very
I was gonna say,
problematic
that's old
mindset,
school.
I would say. So
Yeah.
I guess it,
That's spicy.
you know, for me, you know, just once COVID happened, you know, and then, you know, our previous administration
Well-
made those comments about,
Right.
you know, the Kung flu or Chinese virus. Like, to me, I was like, all right, it just seemed like it's inevitability that a rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans would
Well-
happen. And unfortunately, you know, it has, and it still is.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I don't understand about that. Because every virus had a name, right? It was the bird flu. There was the Vietnamese
Swine flu.
the swine flu, the everything. Why at this time was it so horrible when he said the Kung flu? Because it was said with derision.
Chinese
No,
virus.
no, seriously, I'm asking, not because, it's not necessarily that it's racist, but is it the message that it's given in?
No,
Which is,
it's racist.
Yeah.
Like Kung flu, that shit is
Yeah.
racist.
yeah, see, but I'm saying, but they also have other flus that they named names, you know, that they gave names to it. And I'm just trying to get his perspective.
sorry,
I know
shut up.
your
I'm sorry.
perspective, yeah, shut your mouth. You know, I'm just joking. I'm
it's-
just trying to get their perspective.
It's actually not a new thing, you know,
No.
like especially when, you know, the Chinese Asian immigrants, Chinese immigrants came to work on the
On the
railroad.
railroads, that's what I'm
You
gonna
know,
say.
That mindset back then from non-Asian people that they were dirty, they're filthy, they have viruses.
Yeah,
Like all this language surrounding Asian Americans in terms of carrying viruses is not a new thing at
It's
all.
not a new
just-
thing.
It's just taken from history and it's just coming right back up to surface.
If this
It's
is-
actually just more aware now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's
That's
awareness.
what I was gonna say. This time, the
Yeah.
Asian Americans are speaking
Just
vocally
awareness.
about, we just are not gonna take this anymore from a cultural
Right.
perspective.
It just
Like you
needs to
said, it
happen.
was keep your head to the grindstone, focus on your work, being successful. Don't worry about the white noise around you. And I don't mean that like, you know,
Right.
white noise around you.
Yeah.
But don't worry
that's what
about
she means.
the noise around you. But right now, you have younger people that are saying, hey, pump your brakes.
Right.
But that's
We're
what
not,
it-
we're not doing this
happen.
anymore.
Well, and that's
Exactly.
why I want to interject with you is that with what you just said, with us being people of color,
Mhm.
we are all sitting here as people of color.
Right.
And we've always had to do the head down and everything along those lines. And it's very, very similar.
Mhm.
With you growing up in the world of Caucasian suburbia, white suburbia, and things like that, I was raised right there with you.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like it's what you know, so you just kind of just let it all just kind of just roll over.
But you don't really,
water off on a duck's back
Right.
type thing.
I think both of your points are very valid, because if you grew up in an urban area, which is where I grew up, you're already like, all right,
you're on
cross the line and don't,
Yeah, you're on your
you know, you're
Yeah,
ready.
You're on edge.
Kind
You're
of
on
spring
edge.
back, but when you
Yeah.
grow up in suburban, and this is, I'm gonna call it what it is, you guys would be a nice thing, Caucasian, white suburbia, okay, that's what it is, that's where my kids were raised. You have a different perspective of responding to racism
Yeah,
than someone that's grown up in Harlem when it wasn't gentrified,
right.
like I did, or, you know,
Right.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, of course,
It's just a
of
different,
course.
it's just a different
It is. It's very, very different. And hearing your stories, Mom, like for so many years, and it being so similar with what you've said, and you and me are pretty much the same when it comes to this. 'Cause
Where you grew up.
where we
You're
grew
with
up,
different-
like
Right.
it's like
Different
you just keep it moving.
Yeah.
You don't really. But at the end of the day, now we've hit that point where it's just like, screw this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm done keeping my silence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's an interesting comment too about, if you go back now and hear some of the things that you heard then.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you have the same reaction as
Yeah,
a kid
right.
growing up there? Because, you know, those are your friends and you play
Yeah,
soccer
it's
with and
beautiful.
sport with and whatever. So I think that's a very good point. Okay, somebody says, how long have you been in India? Do you have family still there? Praying for them, given the issues there now.
Maybe she meant to us how long I've been here.
I don't know.
Because okay, but I was born and raised in India, so so I grew up there. I was born in you'd call it like a little mountain or hill town called Shillong. It's in the northeast part of India. So usually, I guess for people around the world, when we talk of India, everybody kind of knows the
Yeah.
bigger cities like Mumbai, New Delhi, Bangalore, because they're pretty much on the map, like you said,
Yeah.
Silicon Valley or New
Silicon
Delhi is the
Valley.
capital, or
Right.
Mumbai is known as Bollywood and
Right.
like party, nightlife, sort of
Go up.
Goa, right? But people
Oh,
don't know much
okay.
All
about.
right, so the two of y'all can by yourselves because they ain't never been there.
Right, but like the northeastern part where I grew up, it's a lesser known part of India. It's also one of the less populated part of India, and they have different cultures. Like the city that I was born, like Shillong, it's part of the state called Meghalaya, and they have this traditional local people called the Khasis. It's called. They have a very matriarchal society. So even now they do that, like like let's say I were a Khasi woman, right, born in there, and if I were to like marry him, right, so I would not give up my last name. Like I would still carry my family's last name, and then if I had children, my children would carry my last name. So it's the
Wow.
right. So it's a very, very less renowned fact, right? So it's it's the contrast, right? Traditionally, people know that India is patriarchal, right? You have sort of that inherent culture, but then you also have parts of India matriarchal, and like where my parents are from or where I'm from, it's very, I would say, gender equal. It's always so like growing up, there was always like gender equality, did not experience.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
that's
you never hear about that here.
You never
right.
hear about that.
And to be honest, probably you don't hear a lot even in India if
India.
you lived in the big cities.
Right.
Yeah, these are smaller parts of India, like so it's
But I commend you on that because I kind of like that. Allowing your children to take your last name and not the man's.
I think that's in Dutch culture too.
so yeah.
That is everything. That is everything.
I know another culture that you can take your the husband can take the wife's
Wife's last name.
Yeah.
But you
I
don't
did
have
that.
to.
No,
I
he
know that.
doesn't have to
In America.
change.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the husband doesn't have to change, but if they have children, the kids take out the wife's.
I love that. I love every piece of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I was
heavy lifting anyway.
right. So yeah, to I guess Naomi's question, I was born and raised in India, and I've been here for almost 15 years now. And I think she was asking something about COVID related.
Well, I think India's going through that big.
Oh, yes,
outbreak,
thank
she
you,
was
yeah.
saying praying for your
Thank you
family.
so much. Thank you for the prayers. And yes, I do have family there, and thankfully everybody is okay. Few of my family members did get COVID in the recent surge, but thankfully they're all okay. It wasn't
Oh, good.
serious.
That's good.
So yeah, and yeah, most of them, they're just taking each day, staying home,
Right.
wearing masks, do what you can do, basically, right? And just
Stay alive.
right, and
Stay
just
alive.
hope, yeah.
I was gonna say, Jared, you said
Right.
right there, stay alive.
So thank you, yeah. So thank you very much, yeah.
The peach mango is delicious with these noodles.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna be good. Well, we gonna be in there with that whiskey now, not the peach mango no more.
I did it with the noodles.
We do it with the whiskey. We don't have trouble.
Okay, we're gonna, yeah.
Naomi asks, were any of you bullied, and how do you deal with it now?
Oh, you wanna come out chicken?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I was gonna say, you don't want to answer that question. Yes, I was bullied.
Yes, please, thank you.
See, I know how to treat our
I think
guests.
everybody was bullied. I mean, I think bullying now is more vicious.
I know, I feel like Saracena was popular.
Were you popular?
You were the popular one,
I
weren't
was
you?
buck tooth and skinny. They beat me.
I
up.
was skinny and buck too.
So let me tell you my story. Growing up, because my mom moved us around a lot. Like I was mentioning last week, we were talking about she like get your stuff, let's go. So we moved around a lot. When I was in Hampton, I had a lot of friends. I was very active in my school. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. When I moved to Richmond, however, I moved into an environment like I didn't know what was going on. I mean, it was so different from what I was accustomed to. Now, when y'all talk about being minorities growing up in the suburbs, you have to understand, Hampton, Franklin can attest to this. It's diverse. It's a military town.
Oh, it's a military town.
So my mom never ever mentioned racism to me. And when I experienced it, I was so hot. I was like, how come you didn't tell me about this? She said, honey, you're a Black woman.
No.
You don't need that in your mind.
Right.
You don't need to have any extra barriers in your mind. So she never said anything to me, and I found out on my own. But as far as being bullied, as soon as I went to Richmond Public Schools, I got bullied on the quickness. And like I had to like I came in new too. And like all of my friends that I rode with, they all came in new and they had the same experience. Somebody would always try to fight them, like jump you in or something. Like, this ain't no gang, I don't do this. I don't know what you're doing. I don't fight. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
I love on people. I don't fight with people.
Right.
So so that was a strange experience. So I can't say I was really bullied. And that was the time that I kept my nose down. I wasn't even trying to make friends. I was like, just let me get out of this high school. Jesus, in the name of Jesus, take the wheel, get me out of this because I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's just the different environment.
It's a totally different. But then leaving there, I stayed there for 6 months. Then my mom moved me into, remember 90210? Then I left the straight hood where they were shooting before it was popular now. And then took me into a 90210 type environment.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I promise you I didn't know what to do. I was so ready to get out of school. I was just so over it at that point. So I wasn't bullied there either, but it was like horrible experiences. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It could have been worse, but it was not enjoyable.
All right. Well, I want to hear y'all's bullying.
Have you
Have you guys ever been bullied in school? Like, I
Because it's a
mean,
U.S. thing. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even really. Can we really call it a U.S. thing?
Probably.
Can we really call it that? Because
Bullies.
I'm gonna vote anyway.
bullies are
But we're
everywhere.
just everything. Just
Yeah.
multiply every day here.
It's multiplied, but I was gonna say in the US, we always do things bigger
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah, but I think like I guess the only thing growing up in India, because you have to wear uniforms in school, like
This is like
those
having
schools, like you have to wear a uniform, like you
Yeah.
you know, like you can wear whatever clothes, right?
I kind of feel that's lucky because you don't get made fun of your clothing.
Yes, I think
Not
in
like
one
you
way
know,
too.
like,
It's
So
the same thing.
right, so I guess as a child in school, I think there was less amount of bullying. Like personally, I didn't experience anything, and
That's good,
knowing my
yeah.
close friends, I think part of it is maybe we all have to wear the same clothes. Like if you're a woman, like you can't open your hair like that, go to high
Right.
school, or paint your nails. You have to like
So everybody looks the same. pretty
exactly,
much,
like no makeup and
That's the
stuff.
part though.
Yeah.
I like that.
I went to Catholic school and we were in uniforms.
What?
They took my lunch money. Michelle Harris. I still remember.
Wow,
Look,
Mom, you just
Michelle.
called her out.
Like,
Oh yeah, Michelle Harris.
Shout out to you.
Oh yeah, she's still alive. I'm coming for you.
Mom,
I would literally. I was. Well, think about how traumatizing it is that I still remember her.
Right.
I still remember her name and where you lived. Oh no. But yeah, she took my lunch money. I had never had anything to eat.
I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
Oh my
She's
I
a
mean,
little salty
And
still.
I'm still a little
Still a
salty.
little salty.
Still a little salty. But yeah, and we went to Catholic schools. Everybody wore the same thing. So there was never bullying about, you got the best outfit or anything like that.
Right.
But you always had the ones that were just horrible people.
They were.
They were just horrible. They were horrible kids. And I bet you they're horrible adults.
Okay, well, here's a little story for me. Okay. So I was always bullied. Like I was bullied. And Mom says this numerous times. She's like, if you can survive middle school,
You can
Yeah,
run a
you can
country.
survive
anything.
You can run a country.
Okay. And here's the crazy part. The story actually was in high school. Okay. And I'm being called all types of names and everything. Okay, but I had a loudmouth friend.
Oh,
We won't
Lord.
name her. We won't name her.
We're not gonna name her. She was just loud. She was just loud and said a lot. Knowing where we come from, we grew up in white suburbia. This is not our life. We don't know this world.
God.
Okay, and it was the girls from off of Newborn Avenue in Rondo, Carolina.
All right. See, I named names. I didn't say where everybody was from.
Okay, that's Newburn. Okay, Newburn Avenue in Rondo, Carolina.
Just glad you
Okay.
we want you here talking about Asian culture. We're all like kind of going through our thing.
Everybody been bullied.
Except for the two people sitting here.
But one thing I
That's fun.
no, wait, one
Process
thing,
our emotions.
It's fun that
Yeah.
but
everybody.
wait, one thing I can say about my mother. One thing I can say about my mother. You never throw the first punch, but you fight
Yes,
it. You
but if they
fight
hit
it.
you,
If you lose, and
that's
at
right.
least you
That's
put
exactly
in the
so.
work
That's the way it
to
works.
defend yourself. So I was just like, so we are surrounded by about 5 girls. And it's the two of us headed out to the bus. I said, you know what? Drop the book bags, we about to do that.
Oh my
It's
God.
gone. It's gone. But Miss Jackson,
Saved them. She just saved them.
Miss
What?
Jackson,
And ended
our
well.
assistant,
And
our
went
assistant
well.
principal,
Here's another question.
yeah,
For Miss Charlotte.
saved us.
Do you find yourself still having to follow traditional Indian culture versus American?
Oh,
Good question. And I think I can only talk about my personal experience. Personally, for me, I've been like really lucky. You know, in my family, they're I would say like very liberal. So and like, especially my parents, you know, they've always supported me in whatever decisions I've made. You know, whether in choosing to what do you want to study, right? Because not all parents, but some parents do have influence on their kids in India, you know, that, oh, you need to like study engineering or, you know, like be a lawyer or architect or doctor, because those are considered the greatest careers, right? And if you were like to be like fine arts or something
money
like,
makers.
you know, like sort of like think twice, but
I don't make any money.
right. So my parents, you know, in that case, have been very lucky. They've always supported me in my decisions, you know, and yeah, I've never had to like sort of you know, follow culture in a way that would like kind of impede my abilities, you know.
That's
Like,
great. That is
I mean,
wonderful.
like, of course, you know, I respect Indian culture. That's where my roots are from,
Right.
right? So I always like, you know, all the Indian festivals like Diwali and our traditional, like, you know, and we have a Chinese New Year called Bihu, you know, where I come from. So I celebrate all of the culture, but it's not something my parents would expect that, you know, living in America, that, you know, I'd have to wear a sari, you know,
Right,
or
right.
you know, only eat certain kind of Indian food, or
Right.
like cannot date non-Indian people, you know,
Right.
things like that. So yeah, I think personally for me, I've been very lucky, thanks to my
That's
parents.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm
very
very
lucky.
lucky. Yeah,
Very,
thank-
very
very
lucky.
supportive,
That's very
great
lucky.
parents. Yes.
Well, I want to actually put the same question to you. Like, how is it with you and your family? Is it the same thing? Do you have to keep that type of culture, the traditional
Yeah,
culture?
it was. You know, I think, especially from my situation, what was the question is like, was I raised traditionally, or what was I encouraged to be assimilate? And I was the former. Definitely raised a lot more traditionally with traditional values. And like, my name's not, you know, there's no sense of Americanization.
Right.
It is. It's purely a Vietnamese name.
They
Like,
get the real.
like,
I'm glad you got it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
They get the real.
I'm glad you got that name.
Band of a
well, yeah. I mean, I've only just recently, and it's not like I made a legal change. It was just like an alias. You know,
Yeah.
if you just can't see the grass, you know, Hugh. You know,
Yeah.
like, Hugh's another name I go by, but
We're gonna stop making it easy on people though. My name is Teresina and you will call me Teresina.
so for a long time, I was like, I'll say this, like, I'll never legally change my name. You know, that's the name I've been given.
Yeah.
And I won't change it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
So I think for me it was for a while. Yeah, I would say on the opposite of God to me. Like, I wasn't you know, expected to upheld, you know, traditional values.
Wow.
So it was, and to some extent I didn't. So that has caused some rifts. It's not like a major rift, some rift between mom and dad. So, but I think as to them as well as to their own growth as people, you know, now older, they can, you know, kind of see like, and I'm the oldest of three. So like, you know, my brother is the middle and my sister's the youngest. We're all grown. So like the two of them can see the three of us. Like, all right, the three of you are fully grown adults. We can trust you that you can take what really matters from what we taught you and then
It's the foundation.
make your own path.
Right.
Make your own
Your
path.
parents give you the foundation. They build your foundation.
Yeah, you
And I
do.
often say this to, you know, parents that struggle with teenagers.
Sure.
Because, you know, we won't mention the one that drove me almost to jump over the building. Daniel, but.
I would say it's not me, though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's
But
not
I think what I would
me.
say to any parent that, you know, and to your point, that struggles with teenagers, they go through their angst and all these things. And you're lucky if you have one that follows the, you know, the old Dr. textbook rules. There's not many of them. But if you build the foundation, to your point, to what your parents are saying, we built the foundation. Now you guys go on and do what you have to do that, you know, makes you happy, successful, or whatever that is to you. And as parents, that's all we can do is build the foundation. And even if they stray or maybe fall off of it a little bit, maybe one finger's hanging on, if you have that positive foundation for them, eventually it kicks in.
Wait a minute.
That's very true.
You do realize there's one of your children sitting right here while you're talking.
But it's true. As parents, that's what we have to do is build a solid
That's
foundation.
true.
After-
That's very, very
And
true.
survive 14. If you got a girl, survive 14. If you have a child, a 14-year-old girl, you survive that without killing her, without ending up in jail.
There you go.
You can consider yourself
You're
blessed.
taking yourself into the insane asylum. Do they still have them?
Terracina.
Look at my eyes. You think I'm playing? That's an
14.
accomplishment. You think I'm
And
playing?
14, I always say 14 through 17. I say 14 through 17.
You need to hear it.
Yeah.
Because one day you might have a 14-year-old girl, and you're gonna need to recollect this
And
this
you
particular show
might,
here.
you might be lucky, and she's a sweet little.
You might be, you might be lucky. Chances are though.
You know, you gotta make
Chances are,
it to
though.
17. Once they
No,
get
wait, no, wait. I love how she just gave me the little wave. Like,
She's an angel at 24. At 14, she's like, I promise you, she lucky she's breathing.
Yeah, see, but that's what I'm saying.
She's lucky she's alive.
Yeah,
Actually, my mother killed me one time.
wait. You got a mental health professional here going, okay, I'm gonna have to call all these ladies up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when I leave here, I'm gonna need everybody's phone number.
Actually, I might be dialing your number after the fact, okay? Just to have a conversation with you
Go ahead,
off
look,
camera.
go ahead and put him in your
I have-
favorites.
Oh, you're
You're
right,
gonna need that
You
one
are
day.
you're in my phone book,
Are you a private
okay?
practice?
In my contacts, yeah.
He's thinking, wow, I can make money.
Oh, you might make some money.
That's a new client. You crazy wife, Virginia. I'm talking with the doctor.
14-year-old daughter.
Wait, we got IT at the end over there.
I know,
Can
right?
you fix my laptop?
You know what?
IT at the end.
I was in IT and people would ask me, oh, can you help me with my laptop? Come on now. I called the IT guy. That's what you do. Just like you do. I'm calling the tech guy. Come on.
My friend had a t-shirt that says,
Uh-oh.
no, I will not fix
It
your
was your
computer.
back.
Oh, it was back. Okay, everybody, we got a book.
Okay, in East Asian cultures, the group is more important than the individual, where in the United States is the opposite. How do you see that dynamic play out among older family, friends, and relatives?
Very
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
very good question.
Make you think.
That is a good question, though. I'm not even gonna
Excellent
talk
question,
on
and I
that
would
one.
say, in my experience, that is a very accurate
Mhm.
representation of their that group think. So very much so. Whether it's my grandparents, and I'll share my paternal grandfather has recently passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
93, lived a long life.
Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna say 93. We had the 102 club, me and mom. We had the 102 club. 102 club.
I guess that this was kind of sort of a story of like two generations apart. Like,
Yeah.
because he and my grandmother, they also immigrated, and I think that they played influence on my father and his, and my uncles and aunts, preserved, traditional, and so they never really fully assimilated into America, and they didn't speak fluent English. So it like right there, and to give all of you more context, like I don't speak fluent Vietnamese actually.
Okay.
So that a connection, unfortunately, I wish it was strengthened more than it was, but at least I had
Right.
I had that,
Yeah.
whereas my maternal grandmother, who had passed away maybe 15 years now, she still was in Vietnam. So
Okay.
I fortunately had the opportunity to visit her
Oh,
twice.
wow.
So it was, I was able to at least meet her.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't able to form a relationship with her, unlike my paternal grandfather, which my dad made it a point, and I'm grateful that he
He
did.
did.
Like,
Yeah.
you make a point, like,
Right.
you're going to see your grandparent, your
Right.
grandma, grandpa,
Mhm.
or
I love
rather
it.
how we refer like Omnoy. Omnoy's grandpa and Banoy's grandma.
And
So
Banoy.
like,
Oh,
you're
wait,
going,
that's
like, you're going.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would be kicking this, like, no, it's boring over there. It's like, you're going, you're going.
And they have stale candy in the bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Butterscotch.
do have a question for you. So you saying that you weren't fluent in Vietnamese. So like, how did that feel like speaking with your paternal grandfather? grandmother, like,
It was
and
awkward.
having that.
It was a little awkward.
No, it was awkward. I always felt I was being judged. I think,
Mm.
you know, my grandmother is she's pretty outspoken, you know, and like my grandfather, you know, in his final days was diagnosed with very advanced stage Alzheimer's. So like everything started to deteriorate.
Yeah.
His cognition, his speech,
Yeah.
his recognition. So, but my grandmother's on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like she is actually 6 months older than him. She's 94, and while she's experiencing her own physical health deterioration, her mind
brain
is
is fine, yeah.
She's sitting around doing.
You're lucky.
things.
it's still sharp. Like
Yeah.
maybe a few nicks here and
Yeah.
there, but it's still
Yeah.
like
It's still
sharp.
You're
So,
lucky.
sharp.
so I knew that she wasn't very happy that I couldn't speak fluently. So then she was very hard on my dad. You know, and I'm the oldest male, and my dad is the oldest male. Like he's the
Okay.
oldest and he's the oldest male.
Yeah.
So like he carried a lot of pressure,
Sure.
and then I'm like, and
So
yeah.
you receive that same type of pressure.
Yeah,
Being the eldest
absolutely.
male.
You know what's so interesting when you say that? You're the oldest male. In your culture, the oldest male carries the burden. I think and I'm going to speak about Black American culture, the oldest girl carries the weight. You have to help raise the siblings.
Yes.
You have to, I
True.
mean, I was my mother's right arm, right? And you know, let's, you know, say it as it is. We have a lot of broken homes in our community, and the woman is usually, in most instances,
Foundation.
not all, is the head of
She's
the
the base.
household. And,
Yeah.
you know, and so as the oldest girl, you retain a lot of responsibility in the family. So it's interesting that you say it's the oldest male
It's
in
kind
your
of
family,
funny
because
you
you made a
say
point
that,
to say
though.
that twice. My
Yeah.
dad is the oldest male, and
It's
I'm
kind
the
of funny you say that though, because in the case of me and my siblings, with me being the only girl, I have taken on the burden. I'm the youngest.
What?
But I'm still the
Right,
girl.
but you're the girl. You're the
Are you
oldest girl. because
serious?
you're
I'm the
the
oldest girl in the
I
youngest.
always figured that it was like in the home, like I've seen like some homes where the oldest
child.
yeah, the oldest child, male or female, takes on that. Well, okay, so I come from a family of 4 girls, so it's clear that Donna, my oldest sister,
Yeah, no,
she
mhm.
carried a lot of it. But when I look at like some people that I know, like he was the youngest, and he had an older sister. That's all, just the 2 of them. But he took on the responsibility, like the heavy lifting from a child, like.
But that's unusual.
That
Because
is very
if you
unusual.
talk to most families, it's the oldest girl that actually had to pull their weight. Like now, I would
You
have the
definitely had to
same.
cook. You had to do my
Yeah.
hair. Donna
Yeah.
had to cook. She had to do my
you
hair.
had
She
to
had
do all
to do
those things to
all
help
that
the
stuff.
family.
I don't know how to
Work.
cook now because my mother
But-
said she threw up the white flag.
I was like, I'm
Oh my
never gonna.
gosh.
No, I
She threw
did
the white-
because
she threw up the white
I
flag.
had to start
She did.
cooking at the age of 9,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
said my daughter is not gonna have to cook. She's not gonna
Wow.
do it because I was cooking and feeding a family of 5 at the age of 9.
But now I don't know
So
how
that's
to
why I
cook
said
at
I was
all.
the oldest girl at the age of 9. I had an older
But
brother.
it backfired.
I had
You
a.
know what? You can learn how to cook. Don't front like that.
I know, but I
You can
didn't
learn how to
She
cook.
knows how to cook a little bit, but my point is
Some
that I
potatoes.
never put the burden of that on her shoulders. She can boil an egg.
Oh,
And boil the water.
Some prep.
You can boil anything. You can
Boil.
boil anything. I can
You know
boil
what?
chicken.
I can put water in a
Put a
pot,
slice of
put it
cheese
on the burner. I know how to boil anything.
I know we're running a little bit
Yes,
behind.
we are. We're gonna-
So, but I'll do a shout out to George Hartsfield. He said, "Good evening,
Hey,
ladies."
George.
What's up, George?
Hi, George.
Elise Darian. Hello, everyone. So, hello.
Hey,
Elise. How you
hello.
doing? So, I know Naomi asked a question. What do you think about the Biden bill towards Asian Americans? Is it enough, or what can we do to better stop the hate? So, I would say for that, it's a step forward.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a
It-
step.
It's a step, but you know, it has to
That's all you can
come,
say.
it has to come from the families. It has to come from school. And it has to start somewhere
Right.
before what they have here. And I can only go back to, you know, my mother, right? When we were growing up, she took us to every church. So we went to the Hindu church, we went to the synagogue, we went to
Wow.
the mosque, we went to the Pentecost. Hello, what is next?
Yeah, my mama took us to the
My mother
Pentecostal
took
church.
us everywhere and said, you have a respect for every every religion, and then she took us to every culture. So we were eating Indian food before it was popular in the early
Wow.
70s. Chinese, my mother went to mainland China in 1971. When
And
it
that
was
the spices and
Okay,
everything.
and so, you know, what she said was, have a respect for everyone. Understand, what did she say? What did she say now?
Yeah, she came back with it all.
I'm
Girl,
not
neighbor,
I'm not like nobody. No, but seriously, I think it starts there. So from our family, we never saw people that look different from us as anything but, oh, wow, she's this or he's that. And we've been to Chinatown and she went to China and she said to us, if you do nothing else in your life, leave this country.
Yeah.
And my mother was illiterate at the age of 29. So she learned to read and write at the age of 29. And her goal was to get an education and to travel the world. And when she did, she came home and she said to us, leave this country and look and view and experience other cultures. And I think the Biden bill is good, but we need to take our children into other communities.
Right.
There's Koreatown.
Right.
There's Indiatown. There's all these other places to go. There's Little Italy. I mean, there's places to go and experience in this country, other cultures. And guess what? A lot of us don't do that.
That's what it
And
is.
my mother made sure that we did.
Because we're comfortable. And I think that that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because you need to be around, like when Imani was in grade school, I loved it because she had Black kids, white kids, Asian kids, Middle Eastern kids. She had it's Hispanic kids, Latino kids. It was a very diverse community. So I love that. But then as she got older, you know, the schools, it was just Black kids. You know, middle school is just Black kids. And high school, it's just Black kids. All the diversity. But I'm glad she got that in
But you
elementary
can
school.
take your kids to places.
Yeah, you
This is
can.
what we don't
And
do.
that's what we
take
have to
them
do.
different places of worship that aren't,
Right.
you know, that aren't Baptist, that aren't, you know, Catholic. That, you know, you can take them to other. My mother, we sat in the synagogue for a year. These people thought we were Jewish, and we were just like, no, I want them to understand the Jewish religion.
Didn't y'all drink Manischewitz too?
Oh my God,
No.
I didn't want to go there. Yes, my mother.
But there was a question that just popped up.
We gotta go through the slides.
We gotta go through our
Like
slides
7
first.
minutes.
We got to go through our slides first.
All right,
Show the
all right,
contribution of
well,
Asian Americans to this country. Yep, he's Cambodian. Brittany was fortunate enough to go to Cambodia. I wasn't. But he's
He's a sergeant,
in
actor, and author.
New York. Gore.
Nor.
Nor. Is it G side? You
It
don't
just
know. He's
look-
not Cambodian. You gotta know.
It's like Jen, but you're.
I would
All
say
right.
hang.
Hang
Door. The Virginia
You
side.
know what? No, it's in the south.
Cambodian American surgeon.
actor, and author. Okay. And you know what? I've seen him in the movie. He was in the Killing Fields.
Oh, in
About-
1985.
Yes, about Pol Pot and what he did in Cambodia was sinful.
And I
We
don't want
have
to
time
speak
talk
of that
about
because I was
Let's
there
go on.
and it was
Wow,
horrible.
an
Yes.
Academy Award-winning
Yeah.
cast supporting
Right.
actor.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Right.
Delightful.
What we got?
Okay, we've got Jerry
Jerry
Gaines.
Taiwanese.
American
I like
co-founder of Yahoo.
All right. Go, Jerry. It's your
There
birthday.
you go. It's your
Jerry.
birthday.
Go, Jerry.
All right, and then we've got
Oh, architect. Yes, I know.
Chinese American architect. Yes,
Oh,
you
That's
really
my-
there.
that's my
look at you.
area.
Auntie, look at
He
you.
was born in Guangzhou, China. I've been there too. I'm just saying.
Of course you have.
Benita, she's been there too.
Of course you have.
Many of the buildings here in America are historical. He's built.
Yeah,
Yes, a lot.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Louvre, he's the one that did the pyramid in front of the
In the
Louvre.
Louvre, yes,
he did.
In Paris, yes.
Look at that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
Patsy
Matsu.
Sakamoto Mink, Japanese American politician and attorney. Now, what is she the first? I can't see.
She's the
That's why
first
I don't know.
politician from Hawaii, from
Politician
Asian
from
American.
Hawaii.
All
Right,
right.
yeah, I can't. bad
So
names.
I think, didn't you bring her up when we did our Women of Power?
Women of
Yes.
Power,
Yeah,
yeah.
our Women of Power. So, yeah.
Oh,
We're doing an encore.
repeat-
We're
we
doing
have
an
repeat
encore.
slide.
Okay, let's go. And we've got Kalpana Chawla, Indian American astronaut and engineer, baby.
Ooh.
Okay, so look at that.
And she's a
Yes.
woman.
And she's a woman. Astronaut. All right, so
I
I know
remember
you're the
her
only
from
man taking
growing
over.
up in India.
Dr.
Yeah,
David
she was
Ho,
like famous.
Okay,
research physician and
and
virologist.
virologist, yes.
Born in
And that
Taichung,
Kevin.
Taiwan.
Kevin's a virologist, right?
Yeah, he is.
Mhm.
These are the ones that come up with the vaccines that.
Yep.
we're, you know,
Okay.
Yeah,
Moved to LA.
yeah, they are.
And
Tammy
That's
Duckworth,
Tammy
Thai
Duckworth.
American. Oh, everybody knows her, right?
Oh, yeah, and she's an Army vet and a U.S. Senator.
Right
All
now.
right, okay, girl power.
Yeah.
Okay, girl power.
So, let me see. I'm trying to catch up on some things. Hey, Mark, what's going
Hey,
on?
Mark,
So let's see.
the food is good.
So the mental health, this is the one that I wanted you to
Is
answer.
there enough
Quentin, is there enough support
Mental health for Asian
for
Americans.
Americans? I would say more. I would say no, and I would say also Asian Americans are not seeking out mental health. So I would say to my fellow Asian Americans out there, there is help, there is support, there's an entire industry there for you. I would say on the professional side, we definitely need more training to acknowledge, because Asia isn't just Chinese, Japanese,
Right.
Korean,
A million.
India. It's like I believe it got to me where we're looking at upwards of high 40s, 50 different countries.
53,
Yeah.
53
Almost
is what I
50
got.
plus.
53 different Asian
Even
countries.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
all of
and
it.
a lot of people, I always say, oh, no.
So I listened
Oh,
to
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Middle
I
East
did not know.
students,
I listened to a
Asia.
podcast. I listened to a podcast, and it was like you gotta think it more not just as a group, as a coalition. There's
Right.
so many
Yeah,
different
as a
perspectives,
coalition.
even amongst
Yeah.
Asians.
Yeah.
Homogenous.
Actually, I like how you said coalition, because
And I,
that's literally what it is.
it's interesting because culturally,
Hmm.
Asians don't seek out mental health,
They don't.
right? They don't
They
think
Yeah.
it's a sign of weakness.
Black people don't need
Yeah,
it.
and I was gonna say the same thing about black people.
Sandy, you just said it.
No, I go. I've been counseling most of my life.
And
Yeah,
not just that, but black men.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
black men especially.
Black
men
And it's the
don't.
Asian men, right? That,
Mhm.
is it just across the
It's a
board?
sign of weakness.
Oh yeah.
Across the
It's
board.
across the board.
See, and it's seen as a sign of weakness that you have to ask for help with something.
Talk to a stranger about
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
Talk to your stranger. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that, right? Exactly.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, oh yes, I forgot about, we were on Instagram again. Hello, we hope you're all.
Oh my God, we have been
enjoying
on
it.
Instagram for so long. I
I
forgot.
know.
We're there. This has been
Hey,
so
y'all.
good, Mark.
What's up?
Hey, Mark. Just amazing people that food looks absolutely
It's
delicious.
good.
What time is the
delicious.
delivery?
We saw it up over there. We saw it up
He's
over
still
there.
looking for that world that John Lennon was talking about with Imagine. We respect
Oh.
everybody and the various cultures. Yes.
Yes.
Me too.
Absolutely. We're
Learn
still
to
waiting
go
to.
away.
Wasn't it Josephine Baker who adopted kids? Yes, from all over
She
the
did,
world
all over the
before
world.
Angelina Jolie did.
Really?
Yes, she
Wow.
did. She could, yes. Yeah, she did.
It's almost like you make it sound like it's a trend.
So
No. Before Angelina Jolie got all the
okay.
press for adopting these kids from
Yes.
different colors.
Josephine Baker did do
Josephine
that.
Baker
She
was the
did
first
that.
one.
First
to
person
do very
to do
unique.
that.
That's the point.
you know, I can't. I wouldn't. I don't know if this is maybe the main motivator in terms of just kind of bring it back to the whole like Asian American hate, stop Asian American
Yeah.
hate. I don't know. Maybe perhaps that was maybe it's the same motivator, but it just passed. The
Mhm.
1 year anniversary death of George Floyd,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just kind of like
I did.
where at that point, like you just can't ignore
We
it.
still
You
waiting on that
can't
trial.
ignore it,
Can't
and
ignore
then like the
Yeah.
the Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
kind of reigniting or igniting just like
Right.
Yeah.
a wave of racial justice
Just
across the country.
Across the
And then
country.
I want to say, maybe Asian Americans in the U.S., maybe around the world
We're-
saw that, and
Saw
like,
that.
and then when you kind of see like the hate comes towards
Right.
Asian Americans, is like, all right, we can't stop. We have to like unite for for our black men and women
Yeah.
who are like facing their own injustices.
Yeah.
Like so
You couldn't be silent anymore.
No,
couldn't.
but
I think that
and
inspiration
at
was
the end
like-
of the day, when it comes to people of color, we have all come together.
But,
It
and,
doesn't matter.
and I'll give you a little historical piece of history as well when it comes to the civil rights movement. So Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all those guys that started in the civil rights movement. What was her name? Rosa Parks.
Mhm.
Getting off that bus. Do you know that they were the catalyst for women to say enough?
Enough.
We want our civil rights too. And so when we saw what happened with George Floyd and that whole
Breonna
movement,
Taylor.
it took a man crying for his mother for somebody to say, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Asian Americans going, you know what? Enough. Everybody said, okay, it's
The
enough.
world just said enough.
So just think about that. It took the
Yeah.
civil rights movement to help women to move their agenda forward and say, we've had enough. We want to get out of the kitchen and we want to work and we want to be, viable citizens of the U.S. as well, of the world,
Right,
world
equal
citizens,
rights.
equal rights.
Mhm.
And then it took George Floyd getting, murdered. Because at the end of the day, I
He
don't
was
care
murdered.
who
Murdered.
agrees or disagrees with me
That
about
was that
the
man
Black
was
Lives
murdered.
Matter movement. That man was murdered
That
at
man
that
was
point.
murdered.
Okay.
Didn't have that
And
feeling.
crying for his mother, calling for his mother. And I think every mother in this world heard that. Every mother heard that.
You also had the Women's March the year before that. With that, the national, we had women around the world.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I know. I was saying
No.
in addition to that.
No, that's not what I mean. I made a specific point, which was the civil rights drove women to speak up for their rights. The George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement said to Asians, speak up for your rights. That's what I was connecting.
Everybody.
Because the foundation comes from, Black people saying enough, and then the other women saying enough, Asian Americans saying enough, Indigenous people saying
And
enough.
I think it's like everybody needs to say enough, because Black people have been saying it for over 400 years.
Yes,
And our
I've been
few
saying
allies
enough
that
for
we
a
do
long
have.
time.
They
And I
accept
think this
enough
is
as
a
well.
time in my life, and I've never been like, I'm not, I promise you I'm not racist. I'm not even gonna try to explain why. I can prove that I'm not, but I'm not. And I love everybody. I've always lived in a world of, cultural diversity. I've always embraced, that's the way I was raised.
Yeah.
But what I'm not fitting to do is continue to sit back and watch this foolishness. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have zero. My grace for racism is gone.
Just go away.
For any kind of
Go
bias,
away.
any kind of, no, I'm not gonna say bias, because we all got a little bit of bias.
Everybody got a
Let's
little
be
bit of
honest.
it.
Don't tell me you don't see
Oh, yeah,
color,
they all do
because that means nothing to me. I see color. I recognize that you are of a different culture. Don't mean I like you or love you any less. I recognize that about you. But what I'm not going to do is sit back and continue to act like I don't see it. It's like, this has been my philosophy all my life. This has always been my philosophy. I'm not going out here looking for it, but don't bring it to me.
Yeah. No,
That's my
I totally
position.
understand what you're saying.
I'm not looking for a problem. Don't bring me one.
Yeah.
If you
I
bring
don't
me
come
one,
at me.
don't think I'm not going to address it.
You're gonna speak up about it, absolutely. And I
Exactly.
think at the end of the
Don't come at
day, I think everybody's saying that, and we're not trying to discredit anybody that's, in the white community, because conservatives support what happened here. So I don't want to paint with a broad brushstroke and say
No,
that it's just about people of color. I know a
That's
lot.
racism of any kind.
Kind.
I'm not talking about racism
That's
just
anybody.
against Black people or Asian people. I'm talking about racism in general. If
In
I'm
general.
having a conversation with someone and they say some broad brush racist stuff to me, if they're even a Black person that says that to me, I don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear it. That's what the point I'm
I'm not trying to do
make.
that.
It's
We're not
about,
doing that.
and we're not talking about just one particular group. It's across the board.
Right.
Right. So if someone, says something negative to me, and I'll use, oh my God,
We're
got
doing
whiskey.
shots.
Oh, we're about to end it up, so we end
Oh,
it
and
with
we're
We're supposed to have it with the cake. We're supposed to have it with the
I'm
cake.
not dipping it in the
Okay.
cake.
It's gonna wrap up. I'm sorry, y'all. It's 8:04.
That's all right. We can go a
You
little.
go
Yeah,
about 5
over.
minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
The
Right?
world's not gonna end it.
We're not gonna end it.
No, I'm good. I cannot have whiskey.
We are gonna say, this was a wonderful
Yes, it
discussion.
was.
We hope folks learned something today.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And it was
We're gonna end
so nice
this
having you on
with-
the show.
We're gonna
Thank
end
you
this
so
with
much.
Thank you. We
whiskey.
appreciate it.
Yes, whiskey right, and we're gonna have a little bit of your, let's see now.
Let's
see
do
if I
it.
can get
Are we doing shots?
We're
We
gonna
going
do it.
bucket? What we gonna
I'm
do?
knocking it back.
I'm
All right,
I'm
1, 2,
knocking it
3.
back.
Right, here we
Thursday,
go.
we
Yes,
need
that's
to
my
knock it
way.
back. Go ahead.
Oh, that's so good.
Nice. That
That
goes
is
down
nice.
nice.
It's smooth.
That goes, I'm gonna have
My mouth
a
is
drop
watering.
more of that.
That is good.
What is that? That is.
I don't know.
good. That
This
is
is
cherry
good.
wood smoked.
That
Give me
is
some of that. No, give me some of
Hey,
that.
hey, hey.
All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
put some on
sorry,
my
Stephen.
cake.
All right, well,
Okay,
Alright.
I'm gonna put a little bit on my cake just to see how it
I
tastes.
like cake.
it's actually sweet too.
It does end kind of sweet. This was gonna do me in.
That's
So
not
I'm gonna
bad.
Nice.
See, that's
I like this one slow.
That is
That's
good.
nice.
All right,
I love doing shots.
I'm
though.
gonna say Ray Robinson and Edwin Wright did a great job making this whiskey.
Yes,
Those are
he
the
did.
distillers. There's 2 distillers
out.
up there.
Cheers to
Yeah.
you. This is
Cheers.
good.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that is.
You know what? And it's got a long finish. I have swallowed
It's
it
nice.
and I
It's
still
marinating.
taste it.
No,
Yes.
it's literally, it's lingering
How
on
much
the tongue.
alcohol is in that? Because that goes down.
Let's not look at it.
7%.
Let's not look at it.
It's 40%.
Oh,
That's 80 proof.
Lord.
That's
Jesus.
Oh, that is
Woman like
deep.
me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just
You
like
can't do
2, so I
that.
can't do that.
I
Yeah.
smelled that. That is
Yes,
All right,
good.
so Mama,
Hey,
you wanna?
I know that last comment.
All right, we
Shannon
got
Varga.
you.
All right,
Hey.
Shout
yeah.
out to you, Shannon.
All right, Shannon, nice to see
Dream
you.
team.
Thank you to
All right,
everybody,
Gigi.
all the people.
So I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of us.
She said all the people.
Thank you to
All
everybody.
people.
You gonna exit? You gonna exit?
We are gonna say good night. We went a little over.
She would give her a final thoughts.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think final thoughts. First of all, thank you for having us.
Okay.
Really appreciate it. So thank you for this great opportunity. You know, just kind of, you know, speaking about our culture, our own
Right, y'all gotta come
experience.
back.
Yeah, thank you. But also I'd like to say thanks to all the people who asked the questions because I thought they were amazing
Yeah,
questions, right?
Yes.
Very good questions. So truly an honor to answer that question. And I think ultimately, you know, like what we discussed, you know, it's about time, I guess we all just unite as
You know,
human
and
beings.
let's
Right?
talk.
Because
Let's
let's
talk.
talk, you know, because
Yes,
it doesn't
have a
matter,
conversation.
what
Let's talk.
political affiliation or what
Yes,
interests
right.
we have. Ultimately, we're human beings. We kind of like the same things. You know,
Yeah.
having good life,
Right.
having basic equal rights,
Yeah.
enjoying food,
Enjoying
friends,
food.
family,
Look at
right?
this.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a matter of, you know, I guess everybody, like you said, you know, explore their, go out of their comfort zone,
Phone.
explore their
Take your
communities, you know.
children to others.
Right,
Yeah.
and just be kind and respectful to everyone because I don't
Absolutely.
think that's rocket science, right?
It's
To be
not.
nice
It's
to
not.
people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's very easy.
Yeah, be
So,
respectful.
And honestly,
of
my
others.
mother has literally said, she was just like, if there's anything that you could ever do for your children, which she kind of regretted when we were younger, take them out of this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can
See the world.
experience it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get to experience it until we were either teenagers or
Or
adults.
adults, but still you did, were able to.
But we were still able to
So-
experience it.
Yeah.
I take you
So
my
that's a
life.
big thing that
That
she's
counts.
always said.
That counts,
It
right?
It
That
counts,
was a
it
different life.
does.
It is.
No
Lifestyle.
other culture.
All right,
is not
so we're
wrong.
gonna wrap it up. Would
Yes.
you like to say a few things and?
I would say thank you for you ladies to Shoe Crazy Wine for having me on to celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander heritage.
Heritage. It's a full- it's a mouthful, isn't
One
it?
mouthful, so,
It's not like black people.
And it's
Like
at the
It
end,
was
like,
delightful.
cause
The
it's
food
kind
was
of
great. The
long,
wine is delightful. and,
Thank
you know,
you.
more, I guess, better than all is the
The
conversation.
conversation.
The dialogue.
The
Kind of
dialogue.
like whether it's
Absolutely.
Asian people speaking up for black people,
Right.
black people speaking up for
Asian
Asian people,
people.
men
Every-
speaking up for
women,
women, you know,
exactly.
it's just ultimately like, hey, you know, fight for what, you know, what's right for you, but fight for others too.
Fight
you know?
for others,
I think that's-
yes,
I think
yes.
ultimately that's what I was like,
Yes.
Asians saw like, all right, we can't like, we gotta speak up for what.
Everyone.
our
That's
black
right. You
lives-
have to speak
Black
up
lives
for
matter,
what's
Black
right.
lives
Yes,
matter,
yes,
so when it
Any
started coming,
person
it's
of
like, all right,
color.
we gotta push
Yes.
forward that too, like, you know. So,
I think I'd like to end
Amen.
on
thank
that.
you.
Yes.
Speak up
So
for
thank
others.
you,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
Speak up for others.
We'll
Speak
see
up
you
for
next
others.
week. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Join us next Thursday,
Yeah.
not Friday.
And don't forget
Thursday.
to use your TTS.
Yes, TTS one, get your discount.
ShoeCrazyWine.com.
Oh, yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Done. That's all we need to say. That's it.